Yeah, well, that pizza could feed a family of 4 in Turkey or India or wherever the fuck he comes from.
Oh, yeah? Oh. How'd you ship it there, man? Federal Express? By the time it got there, it'd be way cold and coagulated. Total waste. Cheese be stuck to the cardboard.
Buff, that slice is the difference between life and death for some half-dead Bangladeshi.
Yo, you're getting me all upset here.
You should get upset. Everyone should get upset. When Hitler was greasing the Jews, people were saying, "Don't get me upset, you're bumming me out." My duty as a human being to be pissed off. Jesus Christ, not that it makes a difference in the first fucking place. Nothing ever changes, man. 50 years from now, we're all gonna be dead, and there'll be new people standing here, drinking beer, eating pizza, bitching and moaning about the price of Oreos, and they won't even know we were ever here. And then 50 years after that, those suckers will be dust and bones, and there'll be all these generations of suckers trying to figure out what the fuck they're doing on this fucking planet, and they'll all be full of shit. It's all so fucking futile.
If it's all so fucking futile, what the fuck are you so fucking upset about, fuckhead?
Because I'm alienated.
Hey, you like orgasms? Oh, yeah.
It all to try to stand out from the herd. It's the Cinema 9 podcast with your hosts Eric Brandstrom, Michael Govier, and Travis Roy. Coming to a speaker near you right now.
Welcome to another episode of the Cinema 9 podcast. I am Michael Govier. I am the co-host along with Travis and Eric. We are here to talk about movies, and we are really looking forward to this experience. This is our 55th episode, by the way. Last week, we did a fun little jaunt called You Are Next. If you missed that one, it's available on this YouTube channel, and you can watch all of our old episodes on the YouTube channel, Cinema 9 Pod, or you can listen to them in podcast form on your favorite podcast platform. Travis Roy. What's the
Hi.
word?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'd like to come in correct right off the bat because I realized after last episode I'd said something about like having a Xbox One like fall into my lap. I didn't care about it, and you're like, "Oh, that's very spoiled of you," basically. And that's because I don't know the difference between the systems. Which one's older than that? Whatever's older than that, that's what fell into my lap that I didn't care
360.
about. Yeah, it may have even been whatever was before that. It wasn't
Xbox.
Yeah, it wasn't whatever
yeah.
it wasn't whatever was like $500 that people were killing each other for last Christmas. It definitely was not that shit. It was the kind of shit that just kind of rots in a closet somewhere, then it rotted in my closet somewhere. So I wanted to set the record straight on that. Not some sort of I'm not sitting around with a silver spoon up my ass, just hanging out with Xbox Ones, all over the place.
You're not a dilettante?
Not to judge people that have them, but I mean, if I did have it, I would value it, is all I'm saying.
Yay! Well, that's fantastic, man. Thanks for the clarification. I know a lot of people are on pins and needles, and now we can move forward.
It's important. The people need to know.
They do. The people got to know the truth. Because he was a communist. Kevin Bacon is pissed. Remember Kevin Bacon and JFK, one of Travis's favorite movies.
Man.
People got to know why he was killed.
Let's not talk Oliver Stone already. How you doing, Eric? How's Griffith Park?
How'd you like to be the guy that had to apply that gold makeup on fucking Tommy Lee Jones?
Oh, his whole body.
Oh, man.
Oh, you know what, by the way, Eric? Last night I was watching I just stumbled upon the best of the 90s where Ebert and Martin Scorsese sat in for the dearly departed Gene Siskel. And JFK was one of I was just thinking about Travis and how pissed he would be because JFK was one of Ebert's 10 best of the 90s. Not just that year, the 90s overall.
It's a cast like that. I mean, good God.
I mean, the movie was. I'm not going to sit here on this. I'm not going to talk about it again. I'm not going to sit here and talk about it again. Fuck it. I'm not doing it again. I'm not falling for that bait.
Oh. Well, Eric, how are you? Okay, buddy? How's it out there? Society treating you well?
Well, I could describe society only as a world of human records.
Yeah. World of new Barackets. Love that band.
Yeah, we were singing Sponge before the show started. So
yeah.
Sponge.
I did not know. A world of human wreckage is what that lyric is. I learned that 2 years ago. So. Unbelievable.
Some emo shit right there.
Yeah, it's a good band. That's a classic local Detroit band that makes good. They don't get enough respect. Everybody talks about Motown or Eminem or Kid.
I mean, let's be honest. Like Motown versus the one hit wonder of Sponge.
Everyone talks about Motown. Sponge.
Rotting Pinata was a nice follow up. Come on.
That was the album that song was on.
Oh man,
Plowed is on. Plowed is on Rotting Pinata.
Oh, I thought there was 16 Candles where the fuck the first one was called.
Oh, maybe I'm confused. They had more than one album. Yeah, maybe I'm confused.
Yo, you're right. It was called Rotting Pinata. I was thinking of Wax Ecstatic. Pardon me. Wax Ecstatic was the follow-up. That's so automatic. That song sucked. Yeah, that was not a good follow-up at all. That was the joke. So you're right.
The 90s.
I see through you. I see through you. We're gonna do it again. Let's just do it. Gonna do it again.
Love the stereo MCs. That's definitely a 90s one-hit wonder. But
yeah, let's just do it.
Next. Rest in peace.
Speaking of one-hit wonders, let's talk about the Oscars. The Oscars are coming up this Sunday, and nobody loves the Oscars more than you two guys. Very passionate Oscar fans. It's okay, and that's cool. But we thought we would go over some of the categories quickly with our own views and opinions. Travis, let's start with you. How would you like to lead this off here? Give me a category and give me some thoughts.
Well, let's go ahead and leap right into it with Best Picture, man. I mean, let's get that out of the way. I have at this point seen, I think, all of the Best Picture nominations. Have you guys?
I have not.
So just to remind folks listening, that is The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. These are the ones that have been nominated to win. And for my money, if of these, do you guys? I mean, like, I have what I think is going to win, which I think it's going to be Nomadland that's going to win.
Yeah, but give what you want to win.
I wish that Swallow had been nominated and would win.
Yeah!
I'm sticking to it. Carlo Mirabello Davis's Swallow that I talked about last episode. That I think it's the best picture of the year. Not the best animated feature, not the best documentary, but I think that Swallow is the best movie I've seen from last year.
Wow. Okay.
That is powerful. Eric, do you have a prediction? And do you have a one that you want to throw in there that should have been nominated?
Should win Nomadland. Will win Nomadland for Best Picture, my friends.
All right.
Oh, wow. I really got to see that one. I want to see it.
It's on Hulu.
Hulu.
It's on Hulu.
Hulu.
I think I have a Hulu. Yeah, I got
It's Hulu.
Is this Jewish?
No.
Is this Jewish?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Welcome to Is This Jewish?
I never heard the word Hulu before they used it, so I don't even know where that word comes from. I feel like they made it up.
I think they made it up.
Is this Jewish?
Sounds made up.
All right, so yeah, I think the one I haven't seen all of them. I saw Sound of Metal, which I loved a lot.
Oh man,
obviously,
so good.
And since I saw Sound of Metal and Trial of Chicago 7, those are the only two I've seen of all those. I'd rather.
That's all you've seen?
Yeah, I know. A lot of these I haven't seen.
See, Wank, Judas and the Black Messiah. You didn't see Promising Young Woman. You didn't see Midnight. Come on, Michael.
Most of the stuff is streaming for free in most places now too.
Oh shit!
A lot of it is.
Do a better job of that.
No, not like you have a movie podcast or anything.
No. Father, I have failed you. You know, I like to watch old videos about old movies, you know, from the 80s. And I watched CinemaSins do Superman 3 the other day. That was awesome.
Okay.
But I got to say, I think I'll take Trial of Chicago 7 as a better overall movie than Sound of Metal. Even though I love some of the performances in Sound of Metal, I'm going to take the overall film by a nose, but I assume that Nomadland's going to win because you guys know better than I do. If I had to throw a curveball out there, I guess I don't have one for this past year. I thought it was a pretty bogus year for film. I really did, and I'm going to stand behind that. If something comes up, I'll change my mind, but right now, I'm going to go with the people who think they know best.
Well, I think Minari or The Father could sneak in. I think the Minari, The Father, and Nomadland are probably the biggest contenders in my opinion.
What were the okay? Real quickly with actor and actress, what you guys got predictions or somebody who should have been nominated, Travis?
Well, in the best actress category, I got to stick with Haley Bennett from Swallow again. I really wish that she'd been nominated for it. And I'm not not really that familiar with her work outside of it. Outside of that movie, I've seen a couple of her movies, so I wouldn't ordinarily be all for a performance from someone that I was not that familiar with, but I've never seen a character that I so badly wanted to reach through the screen and hug. So I think that I'm going to stick to that. The other nominees, I'm looking it up. Eric, do you have someone that you are eyeing?
Actress in a leading role, Eric.
I did not see pieces of a woman. It looked way too depressing. I could not go there. And I never finished Billie Holiday because it was not good, and I turned it off. But I'm pulling for Frances McDormand. I loved Carey Mulligan and Promising Young Woman, but Frances McDormand is transcendent in that picture.
Yeah. I haven't done Pieces of a Woman either. I don't think I'm going to be honest.
So heavy. And Shia LaBeouf can go fuck himself. Admitted
dog killer Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, that was it. Last straw. That was it. Last straw.
He killed the dog for the movie?
For Tax Collector, he went around murdering stray dogs to get into character. He said that's what I think it's been back and forth, but it sounds he admitted it, right?
He pretty much admitted it.
He pretty much admitted it, and then went back and went, "Oh, people didn't like that," but he admitted it. Yeah. Anyways, I would say either Frances McDormand for Nomadland, but Viola Davis's transformation into Ma Rainey, I wouldn't mind seeing that win either. Both of those performances were really, really strong.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I thought
Ma
Rainey was. I don't think it was that great of a movie. Her performance was great, though.
That's how I stand too. I was not a huge fan of the movie, but her and Boseman's performances were both fantastic.
Yep, I agree.
Makeup Oscar could be in line, but I wasn't that big on even Viola Davis in it. What'd she drink Coke and was like a bitch? I'm sorry, I didn't care for her in the movie.
She was a hardcore singer. She had a lot of attitude. She was a classic diva. Classic diva. So if you don't like divas, you're probably not gonna like her character. She was rude. It's true.
Best actor, I really liked Minari. I dug it, the hell out of it. Stephen Wynn slipping in for best actor nomination. Why?
I'm inclined to agree with you. I didn't really feel like he was. I mean, he was good in it. He was good in it. The woman that played the grandma,
she needs to win.
I hope that she wins. I'm trying to look at her name. I have this in front of me, but I guess I don't have this in front of me. But yeah, I think that. Yeah, Young Yoon. I would like to see her win. You and I, Eric, have been fans of Will Patton since the 90s. I wish he'd been nominated for a Best Supporting Actor. This is probably the best thing I've seen Will Patton do in a really, really long time.
Since Armageddon
Prophecies.
Inventing Habits?
I mean, he had a pretty strong run there around the area you're talking, Mike, and he just kind of fell off. But he was so good in this. It was like, oof. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll see how it all plays out Sunday Night Live. You got your popcorn ready? What are you gonna do? You sit down, you get a nice little tray of trash.
I haven't figured out my snacks yet. I have watched all the documentaries at this point, which I know I started this podcast.
Wow.
I didn't really watch documentaries, but I just finished The Mole Agent right before we started the show. And Eric, I'm inclined to agree with you. It's a little too cinematic.
Yeah.
It kind of feels. I mean, it was good, but it felt like a movie in a way that made it, almost like a reality television kind of thing. It just felt contrived.
Yeah.
But I would talk to you guys earlier in the week about Collective and how impressed I was by that. But like halfway through, it does like this hard turn into like partisan Romanian politics, and I don't know like partisan like the Romanian party. So like it got really like, and I'm like, I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't really know exactly. You know, obviously there's like clear corruption taking place, but it gets like so partisan that I'm like, I don't really know that I can feel qualified to have an opinion on what I'm watching. But man, Crip Camp was fantastic. I'm still hoping my octopus teacher wins.
You know it's gonna win. Come on.
I think that Crip Camp is more likely to win.
Oh shit. All right. Well.
It was fantastic. I mean, Crip Camp was incredible. I wish kind of that they'd done a little bit better job marketing it, because like if I had understood the scope of this movie, have you seen it, Mike?
No, it just makes me think of Mike Kripke's basement from Terminator 3. Sorry. That's all they talk about in Terminator 3. Remember Mike Kripke's basement?
Mike Kripke's basement, yeah.
It's so stupid.
Sarah
Anyway.
Brewster.
Well, it has fucking fuck all to do with that. But what it is about is, I mean, it's about civil rights. It's about disabled civil rights, which, not a topic that you really see very often. And it's explored very well, and it's extremely immersive. And I really thought Crip Camp was fantastic. So I'm still hoping that my octopus teacher wins, but if Crip Camp wins, I would also be pleased.
Oh.
You know, I always, I traditionally now make a delicious mushroom lasagna for my guests on my Oscar party. So I'm looking forward to whipping that up. I'm also going to be silently applauding the forgotten performance from Paul Bettany and Uncle Frank, and of course, Ben Affleck in The Way Back. I think they both should have been nominated. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the nominations this year. So I've got nothing but, upbeat thoughts. I'll be happy if with whatever this year.
Okay. Mushroom lasagna sounds awesome.
Lance Henriksen.
Really good.
Lance Henriksen for Falling. I wouldn't have mind seeing nom for that also. And we've already talked on this film about how robbed Delroy Lindo was for Defy Bloods. But while we're having the actual Oscar conversation, we should mention it one last time.
That's everywhere on the internet too. So that's never going to change, though. They will never change the nominees because the show's going live Sunday. And by the way, directed by Steven Soderbergh.
Yeah. See what happens.
Interesting. That actually makes me more interested to watch it, believe it or not. I will watch it a little bit more just because I want to see. He says he's going to do some new and different things, and I'm curious because I do believe he is a forward-thinking guy, and he won't half-ass it. So I'm curious what that'll mean.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't have gotten him if they weren't going to let him do some stuff.
Right. They're desperate. They need. I mean, it's not their fault. Award shows are just lame anyways. Nobody cares anymore. I think it's a thing of generations past. I know people still watch the Oscars, but the numbers are way down. But they're down for everything. The Grammys, all these types of award shows they're kind of a relic, and I don't care that they exist. Like, go ahead, if you love them, go to town. But they're never gonna be the way they were when they were like appointment television for the mass mainstream world because of so many different options.
Well, I mean, I think it's about the Academy and the voters. You see a lot of nominees these days that never would have gotten in there, especially from some, Black artists, Asian artists that were never recognized back in the day that are now starting to get attention. And I think that's going to bring in a lot of new audiences. So maybe we can breathe some life into this whole goddamn thing.
Yeah, I think that's a major problem is that people have came to see him as too politicized / rigged, older and that kind of stuff. I mean, things ebb and flow. If it kind of falls into into like people not really listening to it for a while or watching it for a while, then it'll come back.
Ebb and flow.
I just watched you like struggle with it the moment. I knew what you were gonna do too. I'm like he heard even flow, and I'm just watching the moment the words came out of my face. I'm watching your face contort, and you just struggled not to be like even flow.
I waited till you finished
Mike
speaking.
Kripke's basement.
Shout out Steve Guile, Mike Kripke's basement. We used to say that all the time. It's such a terrible term. We thought Terminator 3 was bad, and then they kept going. So actually, it's not even as bad. It could get a lot worse, and it did. All right.
I like Dark Fate.
I didn't catch it.
Yeah, okay. Oscars this Sunday. Enjoy yourselves. We hope you're all there. And, you can tag our show. You can tag the Cinema 9 Pod on Twitter or on Facebook in real time talking about them as they happen. I'm sure maybe one you guys will be online, like popping in with commentary along the way, and you can engage with. That's a good way to make the show a thing where people connect with us. So maybe you'll do that.
Go ahead, Mike. You should do that.
Well, I think you're going to be watching it.
They're live, Mike, so you can't fast forward them.
You think? See, if I start a half hour late, then there's always a way. So, anyways, Cinema 9 Pod. Today we're going to be focusing on the main event shortly, which is called Suburbia. So, capital U. I'm still not clear on the capital U, but we'll get to that.
I believe it's pronounced Suburbia.
Suburbia. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
like you're so self-involved.
Yeah. Suburbia.
Suburbia. Okay. Is that the Missy Elliott song? I never know what she was saying in that song. Flip it up, down, and reverse it. But I will be making my choice at the end of this episode for next week's movie, which I have a lot of choices, but I haven't narrowed it down. Again, I'm starting to struggle recently with my choices. And then the week after that, we're going to have Steve Paulo on. Hey. He's going to be our next guest. And the film he has chosen is been decided upon. So we can announce it at the end of the show, or we can wait till the end of next week. But I do know what it is. And I don't want to keep you guys in the dark forever, but it's up to you. You guys let me know. In the meantime, Travis Roy. Quarantine viewing picks. Life goes on.
You guys, I've watched so many fucking movies. It's embarrassing. Stupid. I'm like back into like I've been on vacation sort of like so like half vacation. I'm working like a third of the amount of time that I ordinarily would work. So it's not like I could go anywhere. Not that I would anyways. I guess it's where could I go? But so I've just been watching fucking movies. And it's like early days of COVID again. So yeah, Eric, I watched a couple of your recommendations. I checked out Killer Legends, which was good.
Okay.
I liked Kropsky better, but it was a good follow up.
Good fun stories.
Yeah, and it was a logical follow up to that. And I checked out Thief, and dude, I told you shouldn't have fucking compared it to Heat.
Oh, come on!
All I did the whole time was be like, oh, this is like a rough draft of Heat. Oh,
kept my fucking mouth shut.
This feels like Heat light. I mean, that's all I could think the whole time. It was just like it felt like an overtone towards Heat. Like I can see Heat coming down the line. Like this is a rough draft of a future master work. So it was good. It was good.
But he overhyped. I'm so glad you watched it. Thank you for doing that.
I mean, I'm guilty of overhyping shit all the time too. You guys are gonna watch Swallow and be like, all right, but Mike, I know you want to watch a movie where Diane Keaton, and a recent movie where Diane Keaton falls in love and cries in bed. Well, that movie's called Hampstead. You can check it out from 2019. Her and Brendan Gleeson.
Hampstead.
Oh
yeah, I watched it, dude. Am I gonna watch a Diane Keaton romantic comedy? Fuck yeah, any Diane Keaton romantic comedy, I'm gonna watch it. In fact, any Diane Keaton movie, period, I'm gonna watch it. Who am I kidding?
She should do a scary movie. That'd be cool if she did a scary movie.
That would be awesome, because she would be terrible at it though. She would imagine her acting scared. Like she would just.
This isn't real. I'm not buying this. Yeah,
I can't. Yeah, I don't think she's made for like one specific genre, and she kills it in that.
She
genre.
does. I'm with you.
Dude, I was just flipping through Amazon, and the poster for Because I Said So, starring her and Jennifer Lopez, she's just like got like the whole deal with the glasses, and she's like got that look on her face. She's pointing at J-Lo. Jesus.
I have to admit, I have skipped that one when I say any Diane Keaton movie. And I don't know what it is about her movies that they always have the most generic fucking titles.
Yeah, like non sequiturs or something.
Yeah, they're always
Baby Boom. Baby Boom was a unique one.
Yeah, I mean, there's some, but there's often not. Anyway, so I wrapped up a couple of franchises I had been delicately working my way through over the past year. I finally watched the last Star Trek movie that I had never seen, which was Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. And as I'm watching the first hour, I'm like, everyone maligns this movie. Like, this is like, everyone gives this movie such shit. I don't get it. This is enjoyable shit. And it was that first hour and 20. And then it went off the rails really fucking bad. And everybody who's seen it knows what I'm talking about. I watched finally the last Friday the 13th movie, which was the reboot from 2009. And I'm so pissed because Steve Miner did the two best Friday the 13th movies. He did 2 and he did 3, and those are the best ones in my opinion. And he came back, and I don't know what the fuck Did you watch the reboot, Eric?
I liked it.
Oh, I thought it was such trash. I thought it was one of the worst, if not the worst, in the series. I thought it was just like, here's a gritty remake, like just like none of the fun, just like all the fun zapped out of it, just like torture porn. Like it looked like every other fucking Rob Zombie kind of bullshit. I don't know. I thought it was trash. I went back and watched Caravan of Courage, the Ewok Adventure. Hadn't watched that since I was 6. Yeah, it was a movie. I watched it.
Is that Wilford Brimley in that?
Yeah, he's in the second one.
Okay.
Which I'd seen that one so many times as a kid, I didn't need to go back. But this one I'd only seen like once. I watched Space Jam because fuck it. I'm gonna watch all the movies that are. I'm gonna watch all the movies that are culturally relevant that I've ever seen. So fuck it. I put it on a night where I didn't care what was on. Just kind of
Bill Murray's in it.
Background. Bill Murray's quite active in it, and was good. He was good. Watched a couple not so great Nick Cage movies. Drive Angry. I don't know if you guys have seen Drive Angry. So I watched that, and I watched the new Willy's Wonderland, which was okay, but was really similar to a couple other movies, like so similar to that Banana whatever movie that came out like last year. That was like ridiculous. It was just the same fucking movie, just with Nick Cage in it. But Drive Angry was so bad but so funny. It's from 2011, I think. So it's like when people probably would have still seen this shit in theaters. But like, I don't know if you guys know the premise, but like Nick Cage dies and escapes from a CG hell. He breaks out of CG hell, like a la Bad Out of Hell, to the point that the movie definitely uses Meatloaf, but they couldn't get the rights to that song. And like, it's just like it's so fucking bad. It's just a classic him stomping through, killing people kind of stuff. But it's like, it's one of the worst of it. But it's at the same time, it's also like so over the top. If you want, like, it might be the quintessential Nick Cage movie. But last but not least, Mike, I give you a lot of shit for rewatching movies and that kind of thing. But I rewatched at your suggestion sort of last week. I sat down and watched I Love You Man again for maybe the 4th or 5th time, but it had been a while. I fucking laughed my ass off through the whole thing like it was brand new, like I'd never seen it before. I just laughed my fucking ass off. I think that movie's so fun and so good. If you've seen it, but it's been a while, I do recommend revisiting it. And what a great premise for a movie, just about two people becoming friends. Like, that's so awesome. Like, what a great premise for a movie.
It was so due. I literally had friends like that were the girlfriend guy. And that movie has not been done enough. Those people have existed. I don't think maybe it is a generational thing, more recent to our generation, but they're everywhere. There should have been more than one movie about it, quite honestly. It seems like a genre that could have been done.
And they did a great job with it because they got the girlfriend guy and they got the guy who's got like the group of buddies, but then his group of buddies is like they're getting older and they're having kids and careers and stuff. So it's like it makes sense for them to like actually like need each other and like be receptive, which that's part of the moral of the story of the movie is if you want friends in your life, you got to be receptive to that.
What was the shitty Lord of the Rings ripoff you were talking about via text, Travis?
The shitty Lord of the Rings ripoff that I watched. What was that?
He watched a lot of movies. He's gonna think
black that out.
I watched so many. Are you sure it was not from last week? Or was it this week?
A few days ago, you went on Cloud9. But
oh no, it was the Ewok Adventure. It was Ewok Adventure. Yeah, because I mean, like, I don't know if you guys have watched the Ewok Adventure lately, but basically, it's like George Lucas was like, clearly, it was at a time when George Lucas was able to say to himself and convince himself, no one's even reading these Lord of the Rings books anymore. Nobody knows this stuff. Like, I could just steal all of this shit. I mean, you've got the big spider, you've got the fellowship, you've got the gifts being given. I mean, like, there's just like it's just like thing after thing after thing. It's just fucking fellowship. It's fucking Lord of the Rings. Just and Willow is in a lot of ways heavily influenced as well. But this is like even more blatant.
Willow Offgood.
Kaya, the baby.
The baby. All right.
We stole the baby.
Come on, man. Yeah. All right, Eric, what have you been watching? I know you probably filled a lot of your time with movies because you're a busy guy, but you're on break yourself.
Dude, I've been horrifically ill. The whole family is sick with the flu, so I've been watching shitload of movies.
You know what that made me think of real quick? When you said that last week, it took me back to 2003, the Super Bowl nightmare where you poisoned all of us. And we were all dead in the dump. Me, Liberty, Luke, all just laying there puking nonstop. It was awful.
It was everybody from. It was like a 20-person friend group, but
it was so bad. We're sharing those fucking car bomb shooters. I knew that's what it was.
Remember, like the footage from the Heaven's Gate cult when they're all like dead wearing the Nikes? That's what like that apartment looked like the next morning. Everyone just like fucking laying around dead. You know what? I had to kick myself because I'm scrolling through Amazon Prime. Bullets Over Broadway comes up. I fucking used to love this movie. John Cusack, Diane Weiss. And then I remembered my pact to never again watch another Woody Allen movie. So I was really at the crossroads. Like, do I just say fuck it and jump in? You know, you got to separate the art from the artist. I didn't end up doing it, but this is going to be a struggle, man, because there's so many good titles, and they're all available to stream on the very network HBO that put on this lambasting documentary. So I'm really I don't know what to do. So I might seek your counsel pretty soon because there's even more Woody Allen movies I want to rewatch. But I didn't watch it. So okay, I've never seen this movie before. I finally sat down and watched it. I could not believe what the fuck I was watching. Tango and Cash. Have you guys seen this movie?
Yeah, when it was new. Yeah, but yeah.
When's the last time you saw this?
Last time I saw it was like 86 or 88 or whatever the fuck it came out. Like
it came out, like late 80s, 88, 89, and I think I saw it in like 96 when we made fun of it one day. That was about it. It
is so fucking stupid. It is so dumb. Like 5 minutes in, they cut to like Jack Palance, like in his limo. He's like the big crime boss, and he's like bitching about like these two like famous cops that keep fucking him over. He's like, and if it's not Tango, it's Cash. He's like getting all fired up about these cops that keep like fucking him over. It's one of the dumbest movies I've ever seen in my life, and worst score in film history by far.
You need to see Jiu-Jitsu. I'm telling you, see Jiu-Jitsu.
Is that right?
Yeah, worst score.
Tango Cash is so stupid. Oh my god, it's horrible. So
I think it was highly hyped, by the way. Tango and Cash, the promos were everywhere. Very, very marketed.
Horrible in it. It sucks. It's been a long time since I watched Beverly Hills Cop, so I ended up watching that. It's fun, and I put on Beverly Hills Cop 2, the Tony Scott sequel, and I had to laugh out loud because in the very opening, this is when like Eddie Murphy is like in the pinnacle of his career. He's like God. He's like glistening. Like the first credit in Beverly Hills Cop 2 is Eddie Murphy Productions presents like Beverly Hills Cop 2. He's not even a producer on the film. Like he just like demanded this title card to be on there. And the movie is awful, but the original is still so much fun. The soundtrack's incredible. So that held up for me. I watched a documentary called Everybody Street. It's about New York street photographers. I really enjoyed it. I really dug it. It gave this well-rounded idea of this subgenre of photography that's getting more and more complicated because of digital technology and social influence. So it's kind of dying. But if you're into photography, watch Everybody Street, Amazon Prime. So two big recommendations. The first one is Sasquatch. This is a 3-part like documentary on Hulu from Mark and Jay Duplass. The premise is bonkers.
Oh, I didn't know it was them behind it. I was already eyeing this. It's good, but I mean, it looked good, but I didn't realize it was them. That's intriguing me even more.
Yeah, so check it out because I enjoyed the hell out of it. It examines this Northern California urban legend that Bigfoot was responsible for the murder of these 3 like immigrant laborers. So they examined this, and this investigative journalist tries to figure out if there's any truth behind it. And meanwhile, it talks about the war on drugs because the conflict supposedly took place between like these weed growers or farmers, as the film, of course, calls them. And it's really good and just long enough so you're not getting bored. But I definitely recommend Sasquatch on Hulu.
Sounds like it would fit right into the Cropsey and Killer Legends stuff we've been talking about.
Travis, take a look at it because I think this would fit perfectly to cap that trilogy that you're into right now.
I will.
Big recommendation for me was The Hero from 2017. I've been eyeballing it forever. Sam Elliott stars. He's like this burnt out actor who gets a new lease on life when he meets Laura Prepon and they start a relationship. Nick Offerman, Kristen Ritter, great supporting roles. I loved this movie. No one talked about it a few years ago, but it's clearly the great Sam Elliott's best performance. Beautiful, quiet storytelling, tells you that there's still tremendous roles for actors that are even in their early 70s. Beautiful storytelling. Loved it.
I haven't heard of it.
Gorgeous. Very lovely. That's cool. Is that it?
I tried to watch The Golden Child because I've been on this Eddie Murphy kick. What the fuck is going on with this movie? Like, how did this get greenlit?
Is it no good? I loved it when I was a kid. I have not gone back. Oh, really? I loved it so much when I was a kid, but I couldn't eat oatmeal for a long time after it, though.
I don't know.
The blood and the oatmeal, remember that? I was like, oh, yeah. Bloody oatmeal. I'm not going to eat bloody oatmeal.
Weird.
Oh, God. Well,
what about you, Mike? Watch any movies?
Well, I'm back on the right track, you know. Travis, you called me out, so I decided to watch nothing but new movies. Nothing.
Here I'm all right. Praising you for watching, for recommending that I watch stuff that I had already seen. But right. I'm glad you dug into some new stuff for you. Let's hear it.
So all of these are new to me. All of them, I believe. I'll double check that. But I started off with The Perfect Storm. I never saw The Perfect Storm.
All right.
And, I already know the gist because of reality, history, and the Superstorm in 91. I remember talking about that in a meteorology class in 2006 at Washtenaw Community College, a fine community college, one of the best community colleges there's ever been. But Andrea Gale, is probably more interesting than this movie. It's kind of lame. Like, they did incredible technical stuff with all the water and really trying to make you feel like they're in a storm. It really looks great. Wolfgang Peterson is a director I've always liked. Never Ending Story fame, other films, and that's just kind of being like, I'm a little disappointed because there's so many actors I like in this movie, but it's kind of like great scenes, but blasé overall.
I think that was the relative feeling when it came out, wasn't it? I mean, I feel like it had I don't think people were that into it when it came out.
I was bored in theaters, but I watch it all the time. I think it's fun as hell. Like the first hour where they're just like fucking around on the boat, getting into fights, like landing on like dead fish. I don't know. I dig the movie.
It's amazing. They didn't use a single dead fish in that movie. It looks so real. It really does. I was impressed. All right.
No dead fish.
Yeah, but overall, I don't know. They spent too much time on like the hey, look at this. John C. Reilly's got a kid and he's divorced. It's tough. They spent too much time trying to set up like the people that cared about them before they leave. Like, just go out there and let's fucking get into it. Maybe that would have been better.
Fast forward to the family shit, right, Mike?
Yeah, there it is.
I actually didn't. I actually started fast forwarding through the fucking storm shit. They're like, what is? Because I'm
you sat down to watch a movie called The Perfect Storm and started fast forwarding through the storm.
Said out loud. What is
at a certain point? Yeah, at a certain point. I mean, like, what's this side quest with the fucking these Air Force people trying to save the fucking guy from Shawshank Redemption? I mean, what the fuck is all that?
I forgot about that. Who gives a fuck about that?
Yeah, that was just like too much. Why? So.
Save the warden.
I watched The Preacher's Wife. God, this movie is boring as fuck. So boring. So boring. This is not for me. This is for like a family around Christmas time. It's definitely, I am not the target.
So when you sat down and said, I'm going to watch movies I've never seen before, did you just like throw a dart at a fucking wall?
Well, I had The Preacher's Wife. Yep. I had it a while ago and I never watched it. So I finally watched all these other movies. It was like one of the last ones that I watched in this coming week or this past week. I watched Paper Man. You guys ever heard of Paper Man? Jeff Daniels?
Paper Men or Man?
Man. Ryan Reynolds plays like Jeff Daniels' imaginary he's called Captain Excellent, but he's an imaginary friend to Jeff Daniels. It's got Lisa Kudrow, Emma Stone. Like, there's a lot of people in this movie. It's from 2009.
It's weird.
It wasn't bad. It was all right. It was also like a Sundance like production. Like it said at the end of the movie, done with the assistance of the Sundance Project. So I would recommend it. Jeff Daniels is the lead, and him and Lisa Kudrow and Emma Stone and Ryan Reynolds. Those are 4 actors I like watching. So
Yeah.
Okay.
but it's like decent. It's not amazing. Won't blow your mind. I watched My Boyfriend's Back, directed by Bob Balaban. I've never seen this. And
I believe it.
man.
I think it's the only movie he's directed. I think.
Yeah. God damn it. This movie is just wild. It's so like Serial Mom, like this black comedy. And everyone's in on the joke, but they're just pushing the deadpan like insanity in this movie. It's fantastic. I kind of enjoyed it. And it had the guy who looked like the guy from last week's. That's why I ended up watching it, because they had that guy who looked like one of the main characters from You're Next. The guy I said that looked like the guy who failed French in School Ties. He's the lead role in this as the guy who dies and comes back as the boyfriend. So.
Watch Bob Balaban directed another 80s horror movie called Parents. It's fucking bonkers. You might like it. Randy Quaid and like I think Mary Beth Hurt are like these fucked up parents that are like killers. You might like it if you enjoyed that one, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought that he'd only had like the 1 or 2. That's it.
Well, yeah. Well, this was his last, because this was in '93. So if that was prior, he probably got
I'm
his
looking
first
at
shot.
it.
And then
He's directed a lot more than I realized.
but like mainstream movies.
Well, he's directed a lot of TV episodes and a few TV movies, but yeah, as far as actual movies, not as many. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wow, that's not a lot. Bob Balaban. If you guys should know who Bob Balaban is. If you don't, if he's not coming to mind, he's the guy who he was in Seinfeld. He plays like the head of NBC.
Just imagine a white guy shows up in a movie. He's bald and small with glasses, probably has a clipboard. You're probably thinking of Bob Balaban.
He's in a bunch of the Christopher Guest mockumentaries too.
Russell Dalrymple.
Russell Dalrymple, yeah. So that was actually fun, and it was good to see something different like that. I was surprised because I didn't know what it was. I saw When a Man Loves a Woman. I'd never seen this. Now the premise of this,
Mike.
When a Man Loves a Woman, it sounds like a hardcore romance. I didn't know anything else about this movie.
It's about alcoholism, right?
Yeah, but it's called When a Man Loves a Woman, and they start the movie with the song of course. So it sets this tone of like,
it's a classic move. You
passion.
You just grab some song title and throw it on there. People are like, oh, I like that song. We talked about that with Devil in a Blue Dress. There's no connection to the movie hardly at all, but like, it's like branding.
Yeah, it was amazing. This is actually a really well done film, and Meg Ryan deserves credit. It is about alcoholism, as Travis mentioned. It's from 1994, so you might think it'd be played, but it was pretty relevant. It was actually forward thinking. It didn't have like simple answers. I was really kind of impressed by it. So I would strongly recommend this film, especially if you're like into movies about people struggling with addiction or how they impact families. And I mean, it's not a comedy. Andy Garcia tries to make a lot of laughs because his character gets uncomfortable. That's how his character is. But it's a really well done film, and I want to give that movie credit. It deserves to be seen by more people because never really heard of it.
I'm gonna like make a really shitty movie and just call it Unchained Melody and watch the millions just flow in.
Well, now you got to update that. You got to make now for like the next generation. You got to make like a Backstreet Boys. What was that one song? I Want It That Way. Call it I Want It That Way.
I want
and
it
just
that
buy
way.
the rights to the song and just let the money flow in.
It's too bad because I've already got a movie that I've written called Burger Manifesto Part 1. But
oh shit.
Fucking Burger Manifesto. So Burger the point
Manifesto. All right, sorry.
There's actually a link between some of these movies I watched. When a Man Loves a Woman.
Do tell.
The next one, The Savages. 2007 film with Laura Linney and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yep. So PSH is in When a Man Loves a Woman. He plays a very small part as an addicted guy in rehab, and he's also in Bob Balaban's movie where he plays the bozo, like high school dipshit. He plays like a country moron. He's like, "I'll kill you, man." It's so weird to see him. It's like right after Son of a Woman in '92. This was in '93.
I need to go back and watch that. I forgot that he was in that.
That's why I went back. I just started. I was like, what? I want to make sure I've seen every PSH movie, and that's why I started doing all this. So
yeah,
he also in the Savages. I'd forgot about that movie. It was really well done. I'm trying to recommend The Savages. Him and Laura Linney talking about dealing with their father who has dementia, and it's actually funny at times, but it's also serious. And their banter back and forth, really well done. I admired the effort. So I think that's pretty much it for this week. I still have to watch Flawless, which is a Philip Seymour Hoffman movie I've never seen, so I'm going to watch that and I'll report on that.
Is there any
Robert De Niro?
Is there any other ones of? Is there any other ones of his that you haven't seen?
I think that's pretty much it. I went through his IMDb and I've seen them all. I've seen Twister. I've seen Late Quartet. Shit like that.
Yeah. In God's Pocket.
Jack Goes Boating. I never saw Jack Goes Boating.
Oh, dude, Jack
Goes Boating.
Put that at the top of your list, man. I'm dead serious. I mean, for one, it's you guys. I'm telling you, he directed it for one, so give him credit for that. And he co-stars in it with his best friend, John Ortiz, one of his best friends. And you guys, it's a beautiful movie. It's a beautiful movie. I really recommend if you've not seen it to watch it. Like it's really good.
I will. I want to see it. And the thing about the Bob Balaban movie, Matthew McConaughey's in it. It's his first film. And so is Matthew Fox. He plays the fucking asshole. There's all these fresh faces in their first movies in Bob Balaban's film.
I thought you were talking about...
Okay. Which is weird. Now Jack Goes Boating. Yeah. Okay, real quickly then. I also I'd never seen Days of Thunder. I watched that. Tom Cruise, Robert Duvall. It's a NASCAR movie, so I never had an interest in it. Tony Scott, though. It's not good, though. It's not great.
It's horrible.
It's pretty lame. And I watched Moonstruck. Now, this is a movie I'd technically seen when I was a kid, but I hadn't seen it forever.
Right.
And it's Nick Cage movie. Nick Cage is so young. This is the same year as Raising Arizona, 1987, and it's a great movie. I was going to wonder if it was like an exploitation of Italian culture, but I think it's actually a fairly honest, because it's about an Italian community, but some of it seems, I don't have enough experience with like up close and personal in Italian communities to know for sure, but it seems like they're trying to genuinely talk about love and this little enclave of their world. I thought it was pretty good. Norman Jewison directed, it's Olympia Dukakis.
Yeah, John Patrick Shanley's script. I wish that Cher had acted more. She really is. I mean, she won an Academy Award for that movie and earned it. I mean, that was a hell of a performance, and she really, I don't know. I mean, maybe she just doesn't like it. Maybe she doesn't like acting. 'Cause I can't imagine she wasn't offered roles.
I like mermaids.
And then lastly, real quick, I watched The Negotiator.
Oh, fuck.
I had not seen it in forever. That was one I had seen, but I had not seen it forever.
I never liked that movie.
Oh my God.
Is it good? I thought it was crap when it came out.
Horrible.
Well, it's directed by F. Gary Gray, who did Friday, which I didn't know that at the time. I just remember Knee-Bomb. We used to go do the Knee-Bomb jokes. That was J.T. Walsh's, one of his last movies, so it's nice to see him. Yeah. Died way too young. It's got a killer cast, and it's not bad. Paul Giamatti's sitting there, like reputable actor. Paul Giamatti's playing this bit part as like this douche criminal on the floor, and I don't know.
It's a breakthrough role for him.
That's when like Giamatti did like that same role where he's just like, "Hey, come on, man, let us go. What are you doing?" Like 5 times in the late 90s.
Yeah,
that's really good.
When he was getting on his feet, that was there was a lot of that.
Like, Putt's in danger. Get Paul Giamatti in here.
Right, and if he wasn't in danger, he was at least nervous.
That's a really good Paul Giamatti.
That reminds me, speaking of like tropes in movies, just real quick, when we were talking about I Love You, Man, do you remember that period in movies when remember that band Spoon, when it seemed like there was like some sort of law was passed in California where a movie was made, like there had to be a song featuring a band, or the band Spoon had to be on the soundtrack. Do you remember this? There ain't no fear for the underdog. That's why you'll never survive. Like every fucking movie for like 10 years. I'm like, why are they spoon feeding me spoon?
Hey!
Anyway, this made me think of that when I was watching the movie yesterday.
That's fantastic. I mean, Spoon was a cool band. They're still around.
But you remember that, right? For a hot second, it was like every fucking movie Spoon was on the soundtrack, and there's like enough with Spoon.
Sorry, Spoon. Travis means no harm. He does not.
I do. I mean it. I mean harm.
You ruined my 2000s. That I always think of a Rush when I think of I Love You, Man. But you're right. Spoon is in that movie as well. So, okay, Cinema9Pod at protonmail.com. Send us an email. We'll talk about film. We'll talk about life. We're down to keep it real as always. But it's time for that main event. It's time for that rare moment in sport where 3 men sit down with microphones, press play, and they watch 1996's Suburbia.
It used to scare me so much that I didn't know what was coming in my life. Mm-hmm. I would always think, what if I make the wrong move? But maybe there isn't any right move. You know, I mean, look at us. You know, we all dress the same. We all talk the same. We all fuck the same. We all watch the same TV. Nobody's really different, even if they think they're different. Oh boy, look at my tattoo, you know? And see, that's what makes me free. Because I can do anything I want, as long as I don't care about the result. Anything is possible. It is night on planet Earth, and I'm alive. And someday I'll be dead. Someday I'll just be bones in a box. But right now, I'm not. And anything is possible. And that's why I can go to New York with Suze, because each moment can just be what it is. There's no failure. There's no mistake. I just go there and live there, and what happens, happens.
This is a film directed by Richard Linklater, and it's got a cast of some young up-and-comers at the time, Giovanni Ribisi and Nicky Cat, and who else? Oh, of course, Steve Zahn.
Posey?
No. See, as soon as she showed up in this movie, I was like, I wanted to turn it off. I'm like, God damn it. Eric only picked this movie because Parker Posey was in it, and it bothered me. But I got over it, and I pressed play again and moved forward. So, Travis.
Yeah.
Eric said he picked this movie because we watched it a lot back in the day. So do you remember your first viewing?
I don't remember my first viewing. I don't. I know that this was one that I owned the box copy of. You know, like I watched it often. Yeah, it was definitely one that I owned and thought was really great and quoted and all, like a lot of the movies that we've done on this podcast. That's why I think this was a really good choice for the podcast, because it was something that I internalized and thought was really important at one point in my life, and yet had not revisited in 20 years. So I was really glad to sit down and watch it again. I'm stoked to talk about it.
Yeah, Eric Bogosian play originally, not even just a screenplay, but a play, and that made a lot more sense to me now when I learned that, because I didn't know that it was a play. Eric Branstrom, you chose this movie. Is it possible that you could recall your first viewing?
Yeah, Jimmy, friend of the show, Jim showed it to me. Of course, he had a just cavalcade of box copies in his basement. We would watch this quite a bit. It was, back when I was like 18, 19, like if there were movies about like anyone older than me that was like in their 20s and they just seemed cool and worth listening to for life advice. So I would check in with this quite a bit, and actually kind of quite surprised it's an Eric Bogosian script. I'd like to probably take a look at that actual play, because it's for the 90s. Back then it seemed so contemporary, and he got his start a bit earlier. He was probably in his early 40s by that time. So
he was, I checked. Yeah. He was about 40 or 41 even when he wrote it, and Linklater was mid 30s, like maybe even late 30s, like maybe even pushing mid to late 30s.
Yeah, but it's been 25 years.
He did grow up in society, though, and lived life. So, and maybe some things never changed. So maybe he just was able to.
Well, speaking of which, I think they did change the setting from New York to Austin, but that's okay. That's about it, pretty much.
Yeah, I cannot place the first time I watched this, and I'm sure it was at one of like three places: Travis's house, maybe Steve Giles or Jimmy's. And that's about it. That's where I saw all the movies on VHS. I can't really think. Is there another place I would have been? Maybe at home, but not for Suburbia. I don't remember Suburbia at home. But I remember, this was like, whoa, dude, you see, this is intense. And I don't know what I thought about it, though, back then. I kept spent hours this week trying to recall. What was I thinking? When I saw this movie, what was my connection to it at that age, at 16 years old? I don't know, but
I know it felt deep. That was the main thing, I think.
Yes.
Like whatever it was I felt about this movie, to me, it just felt like a deep, kind of thoughtful kind of movie.
It wasn't a comedy. Yeah.
Well,
it had funny moments, right?
It was heavy. We're so used to Clerks and Glory Days and Mallrats, and this definitely felt so much heavier. That's all I can really remember.
Yeah, like I was thinking about like Empire Records and Can't Hardly Wait, and how they would stand against this movie. Like this movie is like that with all that veneer stripped off,
Yeah.
the movie starts, right? You get like Town Without Pity, so it's all very like sultry and swaggering and like sordid. And you get all those images of just like, it's all very bleak, but even though they're not, like, it's like development, like constant development, but like also just like pawn shops and like, it looks like the American dream gone wrong,
big box stores.
Oh no. This movie is based on the fictional town of Burnfield, Texas, which is in part based on Woburn, Massachusetts, Eric Bogosian's hometown. So there you go.
Okay. All right, my bad.
Yeah. Anybody did anybody know the score on this one? IMDb? Anybody?
I actually just looked at it on accident as we were talking.
I'll guess maybe 6.8, 6.9.
I'll guess 5.62.
It is a 6.8.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know everything, and Bill O'Reilly says, and as far as Rotten Tomatoes, though, this movie is on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I'm really hoping that we're gonna get a Destin Thompson review, but I don't.
Been a while.
I don't see that
on the show. Yeah,
like 90s alternative week. What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, 65% from the critics. That's a little. It's still fresh technically, but that's a little lower. And a real tight score between the crowd and the critics, 68% for the audience. So there seems to be a common consensus, regardless if you're a critic or a human being. And as far as reviews, well,
hang on, critics are still human beings. Come on.
Roger Ebert was alive when this movie came out. You know what he said?
I'm a human.
He did, damn it. I'm a human, damn it. Damn you. Damn you too. Their conversation, originally written by Bogosian for a stage play, is talky, but I like that. It doesn't seem too theatrical to me because these characters have absolutely nothing else to do except talk.
Okay.
That is the premise of the movie. It's about people standing around in a corner talking.
This is by far the shortest amount of reviews ever. There's only 2 pages, and it's really 1.5. So not a lot of people checked in on this with reviews. I think we're lucky we got a Roger Ebert review, to be honest. Here's a negative one from EmmanuelLevy.com. This brooding comedy fails to blend the sensibilities of 2 artists, director Richard Linklater and writer Eric Bogosian, which couldn't have been more different. The only thing they share together is a concern with youth's discontent.
Okay, I don't know that much about Eric Bogosian, but I think historically it's kind of known as a bit of a misfire for Richard Linklater. I don't even think it was released on Blu-ray, and that's saying a lot. It's just kind of one of these lost Linklater films that no one talks about. And it doesn't really have, while it's talky and has the whole slackers fucking around, it doesn't seem that much like a Linklater type of movie in terms of the characters. That's why I'm surprised he didn't do kind of a rewrite or at least even a co-write on this script.
I was surprised that it came out after Before Sunrise. I'm like, it seemed like,
oh,
you know what I mean? It seemed like a kind of like a step backward for him in terms of, like Before Sunrise is like definitely a turn towards like, I'm a serious filmmaker, and this seemed more like, I make movies about kids still.
It's true.
I just learned, I verified something. This is something I absolutely thought of when I watched the movie, and I was confident I was right, and it's just been verified. Folks, Jimmy Takis got his Old Crow days from this fucking movie. He's just admitting it right here. I knew it. When I saw Nicky Cat buy specifically an Old Crow, I thought, Jimmy, that's where he got it from. He had to have got it from there.
Oh, I thought he got it from Sean Bateman. So it must have been Sean Bateman and Nicky Cat from Suburbia created Jim Takis's Old Crow days.
This is it right here. Jim admits it freely. Thank you, Jim, for sharing that.
Well, he uses a great, I like his term, impressionable. So anyone that was 18, 19, 20 at the time is going to get something out of this movie. I'm not sure that's the case if you're 40, but it's definitely an impressionable film.
So is Giovanni Ribisi's dong. That's very impressionable.
His whole sack.
That moment since we're already talking about his penis, let's
As
go ahead
well.
and talk about it. The fact, like, as I was watching the movie, at no point in the movie was I more aware of the fact that this was based on a play than that scene. You know what I mean? Because here's a big soliloquy where the guy faces the crowd and takes his dong out because he's like in some sort of art theater. Fucking, I'm like, ugh. It just felt so like, ugh. You know, this seems so unnecessary. Like, there's no point for him to get naked. It was, but like, I'm certain theaters, it was all very shocking and like, a much bigger moment. But in the film, it's just kind of like, well, there's his dick, and now he's waving at us. He looks so goofy.
Yeah.
Well, there's only two people that were in the play that were in the movie: Steve Zahn and Samaya Shoaib.
That's cool. She also, this is not our first time talking about her. She was also in Requiem for a Dream.
She was.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, she played the
Yeah. And she is gorgeous. Just a beautiful woman. Good God.
She really is.
I was mesmerized. I'm going to admit it. I don't care if that's bad or not. She's a beautiful woman. And I love the fact that this takes place on a corner. I mean, how many different scenes are in this movie? Like settings. You got the corner, you got another parking lot, and you got a limo. I mean, there's
not much. There's like there's a scene in the garage. There's a scene in a bedroom. There's there's a few scenes that like clearly when during the stage play they would have just been like no actual set place. You just kind of like you're supposed to infer that you know where they're at because they like dragged a bed out or whatever.
So who's the most annoying character in this movie? I gotta know this.
Buff is intolerable to me, just insufferable. I cannot handle this character.
I can't believe I liked Steve Zahn after watching this movie. Yeah, but Buff and Tim both are the most insufferable. Nicky Cat, and now I actually think Nicky Cat gives the best performance in this film. I think that Nicky Cat is the most committed to his character, and I believe his character the most. But he's a deplorable human being.
He has no value whatsoever. You're right. There's nothing he brings to the table.
Which we can have that in film, but like the whole, but he's just like he's like one of those classic insecure guys that has to like tear everybody around him down, and that's just like kind of it's annoying to watch and listen to. So he's annoying, but Buff is more annoying.
Interminable. Wow. Like you can give me like Spicoli, who's a buffoon, but he's winsome, he's fun, he's enjoyable to watch. This little asshole Buff, I fucking hated every line. And granted, I've known kids like this. I may even been somewhat like Buff, but I was never mean-spirited, just complete dick. And you don't get anything from his persona. If you're going to have this idiot, have him, maybe offer some advice that he uses to be able to be so lackadaisical as a dickhead. There's nothing.
I can't believe it. You guys, nobody's saying Jeff. I mean, Reed Beasie's
I hate Jeff too. Yeah, I hate him too. But we can go down. We can rank all these characters in terms of how awful they are as human beings.
I mean, his constant bitching, which is okay. There's actually some part of it that I admire and I respect, and I can actually see it myself in like this uncertainty. He's young and he doesn't know what to do, and he's confused, and nothing makes sense to him. And he fleshes it out so verbally all the time, though. That's the thing, and it's like, dude. Shut up. When he gets the trick pulled on him by Nicky Cat's character later in the movie, I'm like, yeah, that's what you get, man. You're just so blind. He's right about him. Nicky Cat's he's very clearly right about Jeff's character.
He like that's the only thing I can think of why Tim would tell Jeff that lie would be because he wants him to show him that he's gutless. We got an echo. To show him that he's gutless. And what was the other word? I can't remember. It was gutless and something. And but like that
naive, gullible, all those things.
But yeah, gullible, that was the other one. But that lie, it serves the movie, but it doesn't serve Tim at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's a total third act MacGuffin when things kind of slump. And it's like, and like, yeah, the audience could be like, well, maybe Tim did kill her. I could see that happening, but like there really doesn't. The only thing I could think of, the only thing I could think of was like, well, maybe he would tell him that because then then Jeff worries about Tim all night instead of worrying about his girlfriend fucking another guy. But the first thing he does when he shows up is just shit all over him and be like, you're a fucking fool for caring about me. So like, there's like no purpose whatsoever in the lie, which means like, it just seems it doesn't really serve a function. I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I'm with you all the way on this. I didn't actually remember if he killed her or not, even though I'd seen this movie a long time ago. I couldn't remember. I was like, oh shit, is he really dead? I feel like someone was dead, and that kind of ends up being a reality. We don't know for sure. It's ambiguous, I think, at the end.
He's breathing at the end. That's all we know.
Right? Yes.
It's one of like the three. If only I could have been in that writer's room. Not that scratch that. If only they would have made another decision. If let's say Tim does end up killing this woman, that gives you so much more to be invested in. Because a lot of this movie reminds me of Saturday Night Fever. You got a bunch of kids fucking around, but there's consequences to their actions. In that particular movie, someone's life gets lost because of the way they're behaving. A movie like The Outsiders, a bunch of rascals fucking around, but somebody loses their life because of the consequences of these people living their lifestyle. It's just like a way for him to get back at him verbally. It's useless third act bullshit.
Now, I do think that there's, to go back to Buff and compare him to Tim, I do kind of like the fact that there's no redeeming quality to Buff. Like he doesn't have like a fool's wisdom. He doesn't have like he's not even just like, he's not actually like stupid but simple and sweet. Like he's actually vindictive, like you say. Tim is a destructive person in his environment, but Tim knows it. Buff is a destructive person in his environment and just bozos on through life and is rewarded for it. Like ultimately he gets laid, he gets a video deal, he gets to take another fucking ride in the limousine and never even hears, doesn't even know what happened with BB. He just fucks her and abandons her and doesn't give a shit at all. So like in some ways I like that we're not made to like Buff too much, because I don't think we're really supposed to.
No, we're not. Jeff is the guy who gets the time to sit down with Phoebe. BB, what's her name? Phoebe or BB? BB.
And then he leaves her. He also leaves her.
Yeah, they do a whole drawn out part there where he like slow mo's looking back at her and they're like, oh, fuck this, I'm gonna go do other shit. Right. When she just opened up to him. Why are they? This is the big thing for me, dude. Why are these people friends? They don't even seem to know anything about each other at all, or they don't even like any. The two that are together, Jeff and what's her face? Why are they together? I don't get it.
Well, they all just met BB that night, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because she seems really close to Suze, and like Suze is part of their
okay.
Thing,
well, that one I missed.
Yeah, Suze is it's like she just shows up that night, and the only reason she's hanging out is because she wants to meet Pony.
Okay. Well,
I'm sorry, man. Fuck. Suze bugs the shit out of me, and there's a special place in hell for anyone that does performance art. But she has at least she has a message, unlike all these other just.
That's her whole point. At least I stand for something.
But okay, does she? She laughs when they're all fucking making fun of the Pakistani clerk. So she's going to talk about intolerance and not toxicity. And
does she laugh? Because she also describes it as a racial incident and calls Jeff out for letting it happen.
After the fact. Yeah, she kind of
virtue signaling. She chuckles.
Yes,
I watched it.
I see what he's saying and what you're saying, Travis. She's doing everything at the easiest convenience for her. Like she could have stood right in the middle of the moment when it was happening and said, "Whoa, here's my performance out. I believe in this."
Yeah. Well,
but she waited until after the fact.
She lets Pony take advantage of her, which he clearly is, and meanwhile she's talking about how she's so against the abuse of male dominance over women. It's just a bullshit character.
Well, I mean, they're all kind of bullshit characters. They're all kind of hypocrites. The least developed one, BB, is probably the most sympathetic. But, let's talk about race, because race is a huge part of this movie. And clearly I will admit, as a 16, 17-year-old watching this movie over and over again, like I got those jokes. I heard all those jokes. I'm not sure that I don't know what to make of it now.